Hello everyone, so in this video, we are going to build some more functionality into this point class by adding the getDMS and the getBring functions. And then we are going to try it out like what we did in the previous video. Okay, so so basically the getDMS, we won't be using the getDMS in outside of this function. No, we're just creating it so that we can use it here. So it has basically the same functionality as the previous get DMS and the previous approach. So I'm just going to copy it right here. So we have this get DMS. So we created this before, so you're already familiar with this function. And the same thing is with the get bearing. So you're not going to type out everything now because it's basically the same. So I'm going to point out the difference here. So I'm just going to copy it here. For the get bearing, so as you can see right here, we have self and then point. So in the previous approach, we had starting point and end point, right? And we needed to access. So let's create another file now. So let's create approach one here, approach one. Then so that I can show you the difference. Okay, so let's go to the get bearing. So in the get bearing of this particular approach, we have a starting point and end point, and the start x, start y, end x, and end y. So we needed to convert it into float first, and then starting point we need to access the x, and then this is the y. So this is the main difference between using the OOP method and this one, because the x and the y, if you recall, we already have them as properties in our class. So if you already have a point class, then you just have to do this. So start x is equal to self.x, because we are assuming that the object that you are using to calculate the distance is your starting point. And then the argument here is your endpoint. So you can do it the other way around if you want, but for this approach, we need to do this now. So there will be slight changes in your code now if you want the argument here to be the previous point and the next point will be the object. So there will be slight changes in your code. So you can experiment with that if you want. So we have your start x will be self.x, and the start y is equal to self.y. And then our end x is equal to point.x, so for the argument, and then end underscore y is point.y. And from this point on, everything is basically the same. Okay, let's go to the approach one here. So it's basically the same. So we don't need to type it out here line by line because we already did this in the previous video. So, but also another difference here is in the approach one. You can see here we have get DMS angle. So we use the get DMS function, right? And then here in the our point class, we need to use self. Okay, so that we know that we are using the object this get DMS from this current instance, and then self dot get DMS, and then we input the angle here. So those are the main differences. In the algorithm, there's basically no difference there. Okay, so let's try using it. Okay, so let's try using it. Let's go to our main.py. So let's get the bearing of point 1 and point 2. So our starting point will be point 1. So get bearing. Get bearing, and then our argument will be point 2. So hopefully we type this out correctly. Let's take a look at our point class again. Get bearing. So that's correct. Get bearing, and then print distance, and then also let's print our bearing here. Let's print our bearing. Okay, let's see what we get. So here we have our distance and also our bearing. So that would be 45 degrees southwest. Okay, so 20,000, right? So it's exactly exactly what it is. No, so this is correct. Okay, so to recap, we added a new functionality, the get bearing, in our point class, and we can already use the get distance and get bearing for our main algorithm here. Okay, so that's basically it for this video. So thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next video.